James, good afternoon. The composition has completely shifted in the National Assembly over the past 24 hours.
Yes, absolutely. Emmanuel Macron enjoyed an absolute majority for 5 years, and now, well, things have changed. Everything has shifted, and indeed, the presidential party has now won 245 seats. That is 44 seats short of an absolute majority, and that means Emmanuel Macron is going to have a tough time passing the laws that he wants in order to reform the country according to his campaign promises. There are going to be some sticky issues such as pension reform, which is something the president wanted to do in his first mandate and did not achieve. But there are many others at a time where France is indeed facing a pretty harsh economic situation with big inflation. Now, of course, the second force in presence would be this NUP coalition, which is new, which is led by Mélenchon, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, who is an extreme left-wing politician here in France and who's managed to create momentum, also rallying a lot of the left here in the country. And of course, this coalition, we were speaking to Éric Coquerel, who is one of their MPs earlier on. He said that they wanted, to help govern the country, but they will also be very strong on their positions when it comes to some of the more right-wing reforms of the government. For example, we asked him if he believed that what was going to be done to help the French face the economic hardship to come, as in this package of purchasing power for the French, that it should be passed in days to come. Well, he said it depends on the package. If it's a rise in salaries, yes. If it's just checks, probably not. So you see, that gives you an idea of what's to come. And then, of course, we have Les Républicains, which is the centre-right party here in France. And Les Républicains, which we spoke to one of the MPs, who was telling us that he was very happy, of course, because LR has managed to save a lot of its seats. 61 seats. It used to be 110. Of course, they're no longer the first opposition party in France, but they will still have their say, and they're probably the most natural allies of the Ensemble together party of the president, so they will have their say politically. He was saying us that all this means that indeed the National Assembly is going to be back at the center of the political game here in the country. As for the National Rally, yes, that's the biggest number of seats they've ever achieved, 89, and that means they're going to have their own political group here. This has never happened. For now, we haven't seen any of their MPs come through here today for this welcome day. They'll be coming, we are being told, on Wednesday, and that means we will see 89, for most of them unexperienced new members of parliament, who will, of course, reshuffle the cards here.
James, we can see what's going on behind you. Apparently new MPs are being inducted into the National Assembly. I want to ask you about, can we expect a cabinet reshuffle in the coming days, given that some ministers have failed to secure their parliamentary polls?
Well, we can be sure we will have a cabinet reshuffle, simply because two ministers and a junior minister have lost their jobs. Those were the rules that were laid by Emmanuel Macron since 2017. If you're up for election and you lose your minister job. Now, I can tell you that Brigitte Bourguignon, who is the health minister in France here, has lost in her circumscription, so she will not be able to carry on. Same for Amélie de Montchanin. Now, she had a very big, sprawling ecologic transition ministry, very, very important post indeed. Now, she's also losing her job. And then there is Justine Bénin, who is the junior minister for the sea. She lost in Guadeloupe there again. So at least that'll be the minimum reshuffle. But there are questions as to, could this reshuffle be a lot larger? That's a real possibility, with a big question: can Elisabeth Borne remain the prime minister? Now, those are questions that are in the hands of Emmanuel Macron. But chances are the president might want a wider reshuffle, probably also, nodding to the right-wing Les Républicains party, probably in order to secure some support here at the National Assembly. So I have to see what happens in the days to come.
James, thank you very much for the update. James Andre reporting there from the National Assembly.